the primary topic is what's new in Spring13, and I do note that we have a lot of attendees that are not even Remedyforce customers, at least at this point. So I think it's probably worthwhile just to give everyone a quick overview of some of the capabilities that you have with the Remedyforce solution. Everything that you're seeing here, all of these tiles represent modules and capabilities that are included with a Remedyforce license. So it's not a la carte. You basically get everything or nothing, if you will. But and I should also add that Spring13 didn't necessarily add any new modules to the product. However, there's been quite a bit of improvement as it relates to the existing modules. So real quickly, as an overview, some of the things that you might find interesting about Remedyforce, one of which is its service request capabilities. This is really more or less an online shopping experience for customers so that they can request products and services that you as a service provider offer, and that's all accessible through a self-service portal or by your support organization themselves. They can register those. Knowledge management being a key element to any successful service organization to capture and reuse that knowledge, and this is a true knowledge management solution. It's not just simply a search engine. So it allows you to define approval processes, all those types of things. And certainly if we're going to service our customers, it makes sense that we agree upon a level of service that we're going to offer them and measure our performance and have some accountability towards that. So that's where our service level management functionality really comes into play. And then from a mobility standpoint, customers do have access to a mobile component so that they can request or register incidents, they can check the status of incidents, those types of things, and that is included with your Remedyforce licensing. Now there is additional licensing that you may also want to consider, but that is for the support staff. So as a staff member, if you wanted to close an incident, reassign an incident, update an incident, those types of things from your mobile device, that would require an additional license. But again, the self-service capability from a mobile device is part of the core application. And then we are utilizing Chatter, which is one of the core elements to the Force.com platform. It's a collaboration utility that allows you to, as the name would allude, to chat and basically to stay up to date with current activities within the Remedyforce and Salesforce.com system. So we'll actually see some nice enhancements that were made in Spring13 for that. And then obviously all of this would be for naught if we couldn't report and understand what the level of service that we were providing and our customer satisfaction and so forth. So there's certainly a reporting element to Force.com that we're leveraging within Remedyforce. And then the lower the lower icons are what most would consider to be very typical IT or service management components, such as incident, problem, change management, the configuration management database so that we can identify relationships between the different assets that we have and the services that we provide, inventory management so we understand what our inventory levels are, release management, which is one of the new features that was added back in the winter release, but release management is the oversight for one or multiple changes that we might have within our organization. And for those organizations that are interested in implementing their solution based upon a proven and existing framework such as the ITIL framework, I think that you'll find a lot of value in Remedyforce because it is pre-configured to support and automate the automate processes such as incident, problem, change, release management, as well as those processes are fully documented. So if you're starting from scratch and really have no existing processes, the process documentation that's included with Remedyforce really will give you a significant head start. And then from there you can make adjustments that meet your specific organization's needs. So again, these are all modules that are included with the core Remedyforce product. Now what I'd like to do is really focus on what's new in Spring 13. And I think BMC, I really applaud them for their efforts. And they focused on three primary areas: productivity, the ease of use, and this concept of collaboration. It's a social network world that we live in today, and it's really no different for our customers as well as our support organization. So let's take a quick look and delve into these three key areas in more detail, and then we'll follow that up with a demonstration of each. So when we talk about productivity, some really nice things that were enhanced was, one, this new incident and task console. So from here, you're going to be able to do more in a single pane of glass, a single window, and that's always that always improves productivity from a staff perspective. As well as we've added some additional functionality that you can access through this console, such as automatic suggestions, as well as incident matching capabilities. So if I've got a flood of incidents that are all related to this one service outage or one application or system being down, I have the ability to match those and link those to each other. In addition to that, we've made some improvements in terms of how the configuration management display, or CMDB, the configuration management database, is displayed and provides you information and data. Also, we have, for those of you that may be new to Remedyforce, they have made some improvements on the initial implementation with a getting started page, a single getting started page. For those of you that are already on Remedyforce, that may not be as relevant. And then lastly, a single administrative console. In my mind, this is one of the biggest things that BMC could have done in this release. It was, just admittedly, it was always a little bit frustrating to have to remember or to go in different places to administer the product. Now we have a single console for that. So real quickly, let's just jump out of the PowerPoint and let's take a look at these productivity items, and then from that we'll come back and talk about the other areas. So one of the first things that I had mentioned was this new incident console and task console. They both work essentially the same way, and I should point out that right now it is only available for incidents and tasks. So problems and changes, it's still the traditional UI that you've had access to. I expect in upcoming releases that we're going to see a problem console, a change console, and probably even a release console. But as we look at this incident console, nothing too different immediately. When you look at this, you still have access to different queries so that you can see information that's relevant to you and to your job. But for example, if I click on one of these incidents, now there is a bit of a difference, because now at this point I'm actually seeing a brief synopsis and overview of the incident record without having to open up a different tab in the browser and so forth. And so from here I can scroll down, I can see all the information as it relates to this particular incident record. In addition to that, we have things like if I wanted to create a new incident from here, I could do that. If there is an SLA that's associated to the record, we can see the service target and we can see this little red X indicates that somewhere we have failed to meet our SLA, whether that be a response time or a resolution target, but nonetheless we can see that very quickly and very easily. So certainly helpful from the standpoint of productivity. In terms of actions, cloning, closing the incident, doing a quick close, responding. So if you do have an SLA related to response times, you can very easily respond to the record here as well. And then as we move over to the right-hand side of the console, notice that we are looking at the incident form, but there's also a whole host of other objects that are in the database that record might be related to. So we can see everything from history, the linked task, any approvals that if there were an approval process that might be associated to this record, all those things are accessible from here as well. And then we have this nice new feature called Agent Tools. And so under Agent Tools, this allows me to do a number of things right here from within the console. I can, for example, do a knowledge search, right? I can explore any configuration items or assets that might be linked to this incident. I can launch the CI Explorer. I also have CI Actions. So for those of you that might have the Footprints asset core and have that integrated with Remedyforce, from here you'd be able to spawn off actions such as a remote control, doing an on-demand inventory, those types of things. And I'll show you more of that when we get into the CMDB capabilities here in just a bit. And then we have suggested templates. So with this, again, we're a new incident. At this point, there isn't a template that is assigned, but when we look at the suggested templates, and I overlooked incident matching, I'll come back to that here in just a second, but the suggested templates will evaluate a number of values that are on the incident form and suggest what templates that you might want to link to this particular incident. This would especially come into play with a support organization registering a new incident over the telephone, but also if customers had previously registered an incident through self-service, they could apply those templates through the suggested template here option as well. You also have incident matching, and this is a really nice feature because this does basically a quick scan across all of the incidents, and it allows us in terms of match by. Well, by default, it's going to match by account, so all the records for the same account, for the same client, or same category, and maybe I only am interested in seeing all the records for the same category. So at this point, now I can see a number of incidents. Some of these are open, some of these are closed records, and for example here, if I wanted to close some of these, well, I could just check these records, and then and from here I can choose the status that I want to apply and link that status to those records. So that's a really nice feature that we have, and again, that is an entirely new feature. That's the incident matching. We also have suggested owners. Some of these things I'm going to cover a little bit more. They really address some other areas, but when we talk about suggested owners, we're basically evaluating certain conditions within the incident and say, which team or which queue or person really should this type of incident be assigned to? And in this case, because it is an email-related issue, we would assign this to an applications queue. Now, we can also select staff, and I have no staff suggestions at this point. But again, suggested templates and owners, new feature, and then again, the service targets. This is just yet one more way to launch and see your association to the SLAs. So again, we've talked about the new console, automatic suggesting, the incident matching. Also, there is a number of improvements that were made to the CMDB. So as you look at this CI form, it will look a little bit different for those of you that maybe are already using Remedyforce, and the difference being the tabs here at the top versus the everything being on the left-hand side. So now as I select, for example, relationships, well, at that point, I'm seeing all the relationships in one area. So it's a little bit less scrolling. Chatter feeds, if anyone is following this, and we can see all the chatter feeds related to this configuration item. In terms of details, these would be the things like relationships to the clients and the organizations and so forth that we have access to.